Let's talk about some angles in parallel lines. The first thing we've got to do is pretend that these lines are parallel. I drew them freehand, they're fucking shit, but don't worry about that. So in an exam, we'll know some lines are parallel because I have these arrows on them. That's what these arrows represent, parallel lines like that. So here's the first instance. These are the ones we call alternate angles. They often form in a Z shape. So I'll highlight that with a red pen now. The Z shape that we're referring to is like that, where it's parallel, slanted, parallel. And it's the inside angles on the Z shape that we call alternate. And those angles are equal. So this angle in here is equal to this angle in here. You can either remember it just by memorizing that Z angles are alternate, or you can think, well, the angle is on the other side of that middle line, on the alternate side. Whichever way you choose to memorize it, just fucking memorize it. It's really important, because after every question they'll say, explain how you know that they're the same. And you'll have to say, because it's an alternate angle. It's not good enough saying, oh, it's a Z angle. So that's the first one, alternate. Zolternate might be a good way to memorize it. Just thought of that one. Okay, next up we've got the corresponding angles. So these often form in an F shape. So if we've got the line like that with the two parallel lines, I should know that these are the parallel lines. The two parallel lines come out as the sort of dashes off the F. And again, it's the angles on the inside of the F that are the same. So that angle here is the same as that angle here. One way you can memorize this one is that this angle up here almost slides down into that one. So that's how I remember and try and spot a corresponding angle. If it can literally, it's the exact same shape, just slides down the line into that one. So remember, F shape, corresponding angle. One of the easier angles to remember are the X shape angles, which we say are vertically opposite. So that's just where this angle here is the same as that one there. This one here is the same as that one there. And the same goes for those two and those two. So when you've got two lines that are crossing each other, in fact, they don't actually need to even be parallel. As we can see here, that line is parallel with this one. And actually, we're just dealing with angles around here. So this can also tie in with the fact that angles on a straight line are 180 degrees. So both those together would add up to 180 degrees. And that in itself ties in with the fact that all four angles around there would add up to 360. So there's many ways you can view this particular one. But always remember, the vertically opposite ones, those are one of the rules. This is one of the more forgotten ones, the co-interior angles. But these are really important because they come in really helpful when we're doing bearings. So here, often it's the U shape or the C shape, like that. And it's co-interior because both of the angles on the inside of the U or the C shape. The rule here is that co-interior angles add up to 180. So if this angle, for example, was, I don't know, 70, that would mean that this angle here was 110, because they would both have to add up to 180. So I'm going to work through this example now. I'm going to try and use all of the rules that we just talked about. So obviously these are the two parallel lines here. We can tell because those are the arrows. So now we're going to start looking for our letters, our Z's, our F's, our X's, our U's and C's. So let's first of all take a look at this 60. Now I'm spotting a co-interior angle here with this C shape. And basically the aim that I'm trying to get to now is just to work out every single angle. Obviously on an exam question it would tell you to find specific ones, but it doesn't hurt to just find them all. So co-interior means they add up to 180, which means this angle down here is going to be 120. 60 plus 120 is 180. Because we know that's 180, we know that vertically opposite, that's going to be 120 as well. Sorry, I misspoke, I think. That's going to be 120 as well. So there we go. Because angles around a point add up to 360, or angles on a straight line add up to 180, we know that this will also be 60, because those all around there add up to 180. And vertically opposite over there, that makes 60 as well. And if you were to add all those four up, you would see they make 360. Now let's take a look at this one. So we got a corresponding thing here. We got an F shape, if we can see that. So this 80 can slide right up and go there. So that's 80. We've also got another vertically opposite here, or angles on a straight line add up to 180. So we know that that's going to be 80. We know these will be 100. And because angles on a straight line add up to 180 here, We know 60 plus 80 is 140, so there'll be 40 left over there. And obviously we've got a triangle here, so all of those three angles should add up to 180, because angles in a triangle add up to 180. So 60 plus 80 plus 40 does indeed add up to 180. All right, I did want to do one more example, just to show how some letters that we have, you know, the shapes, the Z's and stuff, might not always look like Z's and F's. So this is a typical exam question. We've got two parallel lines going straight up there. We're given a couple of angles and we want to find this angle over here. So let's try and look for our shapes. Now, the particular thing I wanted to do in this one was show you how the Z angle doesn't always look like a Z, but you've still got to spot that sort of zigzag shape. And here with this 80, with the two parallel lines, we do have a Z there. So that means this angle in here is going to be 80. Now, that's really helpful to us because we know then angles on a straight line add up to 180. So this one here is going to be 100. That's quite small, but that's 100. And if we do this one here, it's like a stretched out Z with this one, where it's like boom, boom, boom. 125 right there. And then the same idea, angles on a straight line add up to 180, means this one here is going to be 55. And then we should know angles in a triangle add up to 180. So 100 plus 55, obviously 155, which means X, what's left over, is going to be 25. So that all three angles add up to 180.